Did your parents always keep giving you animals and things? Like, they thought you looked like you had to be grabbing onto something all the time, or you'd fall over or blow away or something? Well, don't look at me like that. Listen, I can just leave if you don't want to hear this, if you think this is stupid or something. I mean, you asked me a question and now I'm going to answer it whether you like it or not. So my parents kept giving me these animals, see, and not just cats and dogs, but also a pregnant raccoon and 2 ducks named Mickey and a deflowered skunk and this chicken named Arnold and like all kinds of things like that. They were really dumb, not the animals, my parents. Well, you know how dumb they are. And the house we lived in was too close to the road. And what happens when you live too close is that all of your animals are always getting splattered on the road, and your brothers are always having to go out with a shovel to scrape them off and take them someplace to bury. And sometimes, if they're all squashed up but not quite dead, your brother hits them with a shovel until they stop screaming or squawking or whining or meowing, as the case may be, and giving them names makes it worse. But I loved to, and I couldn't help it, and I did. But then when it got splattered, it wasn't just the cat or the duck. It was somebody with a name that you lived with and slept with and talked at and listened to and fussed over and took care of and accepted you. And then it was just this mess that was left on the road. And after the last one, which was a small bow-legged Persian kitten named Clarence, age 6 months, who was sort of dumb and loved me a lot and didn't want any more than to just be alive and play with a piece of string or something. After that last one, I made my stupid parents promise me to never get me another thing that was alive because I had figured out what was true and still is true. That there is no excuse and no way ever to make up for the millions and millions of innocent betrayed, squashed up dead. And nobody's parents and nobody's God was ever going to be able to explain that to me and make it all right. And the only way to not go crazy, if you had the misfortune of being a compulsive namer and lover, was to not hook yourself up with splatterable things, because then it can never be your fault for needing or wanting them. Because if you don't give, you can't hurt, and you don't get guilty because you can't betray if you never gave to begin with. Doesn't that make sense to you? It does make sense. It does.